Welcome back, everybody. This is video 2 for my new YouTube channel, and it's going to be the first actual video, and it's going to be the first in this series that I'm calling the What's on My Desk. So this series is going to follow, I'm going to try to do it more sort of on the beginning of the month. It's January 3rd of 2019 right now. So I'm going to try to keep it going sort of at the beginning of every month. Keep things as consistent as I can. Again, we'll see how things pan out with time. Maybe moving around a little bit, but I think if I miss one too late, I'm just going to scrap a month and jump to the next. We'll see what happens if we do a 2-month in one kind of thing. So yeah, I'll do a quick overview of what my desk looks like, some of the tools I have handy and whatnot, and then I'll quickly go over what models I am building at the moment. I got 4 on the go right now, so without further ado, let's jump into this and I'll show you what I got. So as I'm sure you remember from last time, I did a quick overview of my workbench. So you can see the bench here. It's a nice corner desk. It gives me space to work. As I said, I have sort of a working shelf over here where I keep some of my instructions, decals, the parts at the bottom, whatnot that I need handy. I've got some of the tools underneath here. I've got some stuff in these bins. These are great little bins. They're actually Air Canada storage bins. Stuff that I've been able to pick up through work. So they stack, they got lots of room. I got a lot of stuff stored in there. I got binders with my extra decals. Over here in the corner, it's a little bit messy right now. I've got some of the paints out. I've got a little storage container here. I got some glues and pliers, snippers, paintbrushes, files, X-Acto knives, all that kind of stuff. I got this little shelf, little basic shelf made of MDF. It's got a bit of my glues and whatnot, and then some paper cups and stuff, and putties and drills and clamps and whatnot. And then up on the top is kind of where I have my storage. So I have a storage area here where I have my models that are in progress. I store everything. Back there, paint holders with some of my glue. I got epoxies and decal setting solutions and some of my paints and whatnot. I have more paints I have in a storage area that I use, and I got 2 lamps. So I'm going to take out a neck lamp and then a smaller desk lamp. I'd like to get this guy replaced with a gooseneck lamp at some point, some more clamps in the corner, and a vise. So that's sort of what I have handy on the work desk. So I'm going to get this guy set up in a corner and I'll show you what I got. So I'm thinking this angle I have set up here is probably going to be the angle I use while I videotape the in progress of the kits. It's got a nice angle, nice view, some nice light. It's out of my way, so there's no chance of me getting in knocking it or getting it in the way of anything. So I'll quickly show you what I got going on here. I'll start off with the first one. This is Italy's 1/48 scale Hawker Typhoon, done up in the D-Day invasion stripes. As you can see, I've got it more or less assembled right now. Just about ready to do some of the weathering on it. I'll get that little lamp here. So just about to get ready to do some of the weathering on it. It's mostly painted with oil paints. I painted the invasion stripes. I used the decals. They completely shattered. So yeah, it's coming right along. Made the mistake early on. I glued on all of the rocket rails, all 4 to each wing. Realized after the fact that with the invasion stripes, couldn't do it with the rails. I had to break them off. I'll glue them all on at the end once I get get the gear on it. Will be built gear down and cockpit closed. The cockpit didn't go together very well on this one, so I'm going to keep the canopy closed on this and give you a better view of that. The next one up is Airfix's newer 1/48 scale Bolt & Paul Defiant. This was the RAF's attempt at a heavy fighter early in the war. I'm not sure if you can make it out. There's a turret at the back here. This is just a placeholder turret I'm going to use for the painting process. Make sure the internals don't get painted. The actual turret I'm going to use, you'll be able to see the actual turret mechanism here, the actual turret mechanism will have an open back, so you'll be able to look in and see the mechanism inside and everything, so you'll be able to see that when it's completed. This guy has gone together relatively smooth. Again, as you'll see with all four, they're all at the same stage, painted, decaled, gloss coated, and ready for weathering. So I'm going to get started on that process soon. Again, you can see the gear doors are open for the gear down build I'm going to do. And yeah, so that is the Bolt & Paul Defiant. Very happy with this kit. Airfix's new line of kits are amazing, high detail, easy to follow, easy to build, well cast. Everything works out well. Third one I have on the go. This is Edwards 1/48 scale Westland Lysander. Bit of a tricky build. It's a weird aircraft all around to build. High wing, struts, lots of clear canopy pieces. I'm not entirely sure what molding this one is. I know that Edward reboxed an older kit. I don't know whose it is originally. Overall, great detail. My only complaint, I'm not sure if you'll be able to see this in this footage, the canopy, the clear pieces on the bottom edge here, the windows have more bow to them than the fuselage does, so it creates a lip across the bottom edge of the canopy, which it bows fore and aft and up and down. So there's corners here that have popped, there's corners down here that overlap, there's gaps at the back. It just doesn't go together nearly as good as I hoped it would. I've used a lot of clear Elmer's glue to try to fill the gaps on this canopy. I'll have to see once I pull the masking off how it all goes together, but it's not going together nearly as good as I hoped it would. Paint scheme on this one is an early scheme. The Lysanders were used throughout the course of the war. Early war for communications and spotting, and later on in the war for air-sea rescue, as well as insertion and extraction of spies in occupied Europe. But this particular one is an early war, 1940 I believe. Let's double check the dates here on the marking schemes. 1942 is the markings on this one. It was used by a Polish unit, but it is the earlier markings, so it's kind of fits better with my my green and brown scheme. I don't have a lot of the early green and brown RAF aircraft, so I decided to go with an earlier paint scheme on that one. And finally, we have Hobby Boss's TBF-1 Avenger. As you can see, I've also done this one up in RAF. This is the late war Atlantic scheme. So early war, you had the gray, the dark sea gray and the slate gray over a sky, very similar to the bottom you see on the Defiant with the sky color. Later versions had the white bottom. For Atlantic, it tended to be cloudy. The white blended into the skies a lot better than the sky did. So they went with the white bottom with the gray and the slate top. This particular aircraft had this black nose and leading edges painted on it for nighttime anti-submarine work. So yeah, this guy here is all built up, decaled, glossed, ready for weathering. This particular aircraft will be on a stand, so the bomb bay doors will be open. There will be a torpedo in the bomb bay doors, and I have built a stand. It's just a simple small plaque from Michaels with some rod, and then I sunk an aluminum tube into the rear fuselage here, so it all just kind of fits together, nice and simple, like that. And you have a nice looking aircraft on a stand for display. I do a number of these on the stands. It just allows me to be able to multiply the aircraft on a shelf. If I could only say fit 4 aircraft on a specific one of my shelves over there, I could add another 2, maybe sometimes 3 aircraft on a stand. It just allows more aircraft to fit on the shelf. This one, even though it's a newer construction, newer kit from Hobby Boss, it does suffer from some fit issues. I found the turret to be exceedingly fiddly. You can't really see it. It's all currently enclosed in glass and masked and whatnot, so you can't actually see any of the internal details. But it very fiddly to go together. Didn't go together very well. I found fit issues in the fuselage here. The cockpit, very tight fuselage, didn't want to close up very well, so some of the canopy pieces I really had to fiddle to get it to fit in there properly. In the bomb bay, a lot of the fuselage strengthening pieces, the bomb racks and whatnot, they didn't fit as well as I'd like. There was no real positive locating positions. It was just kind of a surface to surface gluing, and they break off very easily. It's very hard to find, as well as the cowlings. I find the cowling to be a very odd fit. It doesn't really have any type of locating tab. It's just kind of like you have to fiddle with it until it sort of sits in place. I just wish it had more of a positive location to it than it currently does. That's pretty much it. The way it's on now is the final way it sits. There's not a lot of gluing surface. There's not a lot of ways to ensure it doesn't just pop off. So you know, could have been a little bit better, but it is what it is. So yeah, that is the Hobbyboss Avenger Mark III. So yeah, these are the 4 that I'm currently working on. I'm hoping in the next week or so we'll get these guys done, and we'll get some new models up on the bookshelf. Yeah, these 4 up on the bookshelf and a couple of new models on the workbench. So there you have it. Those are the 4 kits that I am currently working on. As this is the first installation of this video, the first part of this series, I'm not going to go into any sort of detail right now with anything else I've purchased or any new items, because everything is technically new to you guys. You have seen a quick overview of what I have on the desk, so if I do happen to add anything new that I find worthy of mentioning, I will bring it up in future videos, go over everything. Like I said, some of the items you've seen, for example the paints, that kind of stuff, I can do videos down the line about what I use, my techniques I like, that kind of stuff. For the next little while, being the middle of January in Canada, so it's winter, I'm going to focus on just the models, and then as the spring rolls around and we get back into airshow season and flying season, I can start getting out and doing some more of the airshows and warbird type videos. Also waiting until I have some more free time. Winters tend to be busy for me at work, so we'll have to make that all work sort of in a long run. But so that's the first video. So again, there's not a lot of advertising for this channel, so if anybody out there happens to find this video online and you're interested, please subscribe. Any questions, comments, ideas for future videos, by all means, leave the feedback, leave the comments, let me know what you think. And I'm probably, the next video I have up here is probably going to be either an overview of the 4 new kits that I'm starting, or possibly some techniques that I use as I start building the next 4. I'll go into some detail, sort of cockpit painting, cockpit weathering, whatnot, that kind of stuff. Show you some of my tips and techniques that I use to make sure that the models look the way that I want them to look, and look as realistic as I can make them. If you have seen any flaws in the models, I do apologize. I am what I consider, and I call myself a 3-foot modeler. If everything looks good from 3 foot away, that's what I like. If you get up to 6 inches away, you're probably going to be disappointed, because you're probably going to find some issues with the kits. So that is the first video, the what is on my desk for January of 2019. We'll see you guys next time. Thanks a lot.
Thank you for watching, guys, and as always, if you are interested in any of the content you see, you can access my website at www.seans-aviation.com. You can see all the latest pictures of aircraft and museums and the build logs of all of my current models and past models on that site. And if you're interested in any of this content, please click the subscribe button here on YouTube to follow more. Thank you very much, and see you guys next time.